When we talk about cultural burning, particularly having it slow and trickle through landscape, what has to be considered and remembered is that this is a tried and true practice that our people did over many, many thousands of generations. So it's a natural fertiliser, you know. And if you measure it up against the modern sciences and everything like that, people understand it. And they understand it clearly. The biochar that goes into the soil, because you're burning when the dew point's down really low, and it becomes liquid biochar. And that's taken in, and then you get a 16-week growing period where everything just grows really fast. And once that happens, of course, you reap the benefit of a more open landscape. The sun has access to everything on the ground. Nature's silviculture kicks in. Everything's competing for that sunlight, and away it goes. You've got a healthy, beautiful piece of natural vegetation. I'm just going to move back from this a little bit, save my knees, getting too hot.
I'm just going to work on my tan.
Yeah. You're working on yours?
Yeah.
Good. Just having a quick yarn with Dave about the possibility of whether we burn tonight or wait till the morning when we can see things better. And he's checked out the winds. I think Greg did the same sometime during the course of the day and knew that it would be dropping off. Fire has a tendency to draw itself in and then go up as it creates the updraft, and that's sometimes a good thing. And if you've got really heavy fuel, sometimes it's not a good thing because your wind will take it and spot it over into denser stuff. And then you've got to race around that and put it out as you move on to the next and just keep it burning. But if you can get it perfect and judge the distances, that's why it's so important to have one person looking at that. And they'll just draw themselves in and away they go straight up, and you'll be successful. What we could do tonight, Greg's always wanted to burn this bit between here and the tank. We'll light her up now. So for us, and that old way, when it stopped, the new way was they didn't burn, you know. And suddenly you had leaf litter many, many centimetres deeper than it used to be, and then sometimes even up to 1/2 metre in some of the forested areas. So that means you get really, really hot fire. And what I say now is you must make fire your friend, because if you don't, you're between a rock and a hard place. It's your enemy, and it's unforgiving. And we see it in today's world every time we have a summer come along. We ran slap bang into lighting our first test fire the other night, and it burned too hot because there's too much fuel, and there's plants that are really weeds that would have been controlled under ancient conditions and not be dominating on the landscape like they are now. Mainly, David, I just wanted to say thanks for coming up and getting involved with us and helping us burn a piece of country. So, so now we've got the beginning of our mosaic pattern where we can allow critters to shift from, you know, the burnt area into the good area.
Be mindful of where everyone is with regards to the positioning of where the fire is too.
Sure. your vehicles will be patrolling up and
Yeah.
down. We need to be careful.
We'll have burners that will be ahead,
Yep.
walking through this area,
Yep.
putting fire into the landscape. We'll be monitoring those people. And then it's just really just observing.
And it's not just about fuel reduction. It's about the results of the fire for the creatures that come back in after. Like the birds are just going crazy over that now. But can't wait to get stuck into it.
Yeah.
Get it going. See what happens. Well, last night's burn was just a little test to see how the fire would behave. And while we could predict some of it, we couldn't predict all of it. And then when we lit it up, we found out it was a little bit hotter than we wanted it to be. However, we learned from that. And then we checked the burning, the wind directions and how things would be this morning. And we found that it would swing to the west and it would be oscillating back towards the north and the northwest. And that meant we could burn like we're burning now. And what we have here, burning here, is this awesome trickling through underneath, just like it used to be. This is the proper way to do it. And that's why this is so wonderful to see and be part of, and know that we're still continuing our ancient way of doing things. And that's really important. It's important to you too?
Oh, absolutely important.
It's the way to go. I feel really, really excited about it.
This is about 15 minutes after the cool burn's taken place. And what we're trying to do is to have a look at what's happening both on the top of the soil and slightly underneath the soil, because that has a big impact on what's happening to the microbial populations. The scientists measure a property of soil called the pH, which is the hydrogen activity, and they measure another property which is called EH, which is the electron activity. And there's a very specific range of EH and pH where the beneficial microorganisms will grow really quickly. And that's really what happens after a cultural burn, especially when there's a rain event or if the soil's wet. The thing that I learned working with the Indigenous people in Arnhem Land is they want diversity, yeah? Because the more diverse the ecosystems are, the more productive it is. Yeah, and this is what I find fascinating, and most people do not understand that. Yeah, that it's really important that you don't have a uniform burn, and partly they do this by mosaic burning, and with mosaic burning you do have these potential differences, these differences in energy, and that causes all sorts of really complicated things to happen in soil. Mate, I'm just like a pig in shit at the moment. We'll put that on.
Oh, goodness.
Okay.
What is it?
So this was some soil just near where
Yep.
we had the burning.
Yeah.
So the termites give out organic matter.
Yep.
Yep. And the organic matter goes inside the pores of the biochar.
Yes.
And you can see the fact that this soil is quite a bit darker.
Yep.
And so wherever you've got termites and you've got biochar, you've got increase in soil carbon. So, I mean, of course, we've managed to stuff most of our soil. But one of the interesting hypotheses I would have is if climate change stops people farming, that if you kept on cultural burning, that you would actually build up the fertility of the soil again.
Again, yeah.
And that would actually change the local climate. And so you could, even though the temperatures increased, change the soil back to being what it was before Europeans came. if all the wheat farmers stopped farming because they
Yep.
couldn't make a profit, and the government's actually paid for cultural burning,
Yes.
then it might take 10 or 20 years,
Yeah.
but then you could build back the ecosystems, and that in turn would change the rain patterns. To me, a sensible greenhouse gas policy for a government
Yeah.
is basically integrating cultural burning, modern regenerative animal husbandry practice, doing the stuff we were doing with trenches, you
Yep.
know, to stop a saline movement. And I know it's expensive and government wants to have
Yeah.
big returns, but essentially all of this other crap about carbon
Yep.
direct air carbon capture is all bullshit. Yep.
Yep.
The only way you're going to make a difference is to change the soils and change the canopy. Yeah?
Yes. Yep.
And we know that, you know, it's just that governments and the fossil fuel companies like to
Yeah.
think, well, you know, we can stick
Yeah.
some fans up and stick the
Yeah.
CO2 in the soil. What a load of crap. It really
Yeah.
is a load of crap.
And my thinking now is, from what you're saying, is if you can convince the government for the next 25 years to support cultural burning, I'm all for it. Safe travels, everyone. Yep.
Thank you very much, everyone, for the weekend.
Yeah, it's been awesome. Yeah. What we've got to do is focus on the future. And this is the opportunity this gives us to focus on that future. And that is where we begin the old way of burning and start to get back the knowledge into the heads of the younger people that are coming along behind us. I've always said, and I always understood from my family, that the way to our future is together with Aboriginal people and non-Aboriginal people side by side. There are some people that are willing to go down that track, and of course there's others that are not. And we've got a lot of work to do to get to a point where we can have an amicable arrangement where we all work together and we come up with the solutions that give us the best possible outcome so that we can travel to a future that is more secure and more reliable for each and every one of us. And the knowledge can be shared, and that's what we want to do. And having the opportunity to come out here and burn these few days for this occasion is a massive step in the right direction as far as we're concerned.